We will be doing matrix multiplication, and this is just something that you do need to know and memorize, and this is part of the reason I'm making this video, just to review. So before we get started, the first rule of matrix multiplication is that the number of columns has to match the number of rows when you are multiplying, and that is part of the reason that matrix multiplication is not commutative in most cases. So in this case, the number of columns, which is 1, 2, is the same as the number of rows, which is 1, 2. And this will make sense as we multiply. And matrix multiplication is a little bit weird, because we do something called point multiplication, in which we take the first row, the 5 and 3, and we multiply it by the first column, which is the 3 and -1. So we will make our new matrix down here. And actually, let me give myself a little bit more space. So we have our new matrix down here, and we'll start off multiplying our 5 times 3, which is the first number in the first row and the first number in the first column. And then we will add our 3 times our -1, which is -3. And then we will take our first row and multiply it by the second column, which is 5 times 0, which is just 0, and 3 times 5, which is 15. Then we will go on to our next row, and we'll also go onto our next row in our first matrix and in our solution. So we'll take our 1 and 2 and multiply it by the first column. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times -1 is -2. So that's 3 minus 2. And we'll take our second row and multiply it by the second column, so which is 1 times 0, which is 0, and 2 times 5, which is 10. And now we can clean this up a little bit. 15 minus 3 equals 12, and this equals 1. So our finished matrix is 12, 15, 1, 10. And as you can see here, the reason that the number of columns in the first matrix needs to match the number of rows is because if we have another number right here, we wouldn't be able to multiply this to the column using point mutation, or point multiplication. And that is the main concept of matrix multiplication that is so hard compared to other forms of multiplication.